Today I'm going to show you how to weatherproof your boots for winter. It's a pretty simple process, but it's extremely important when you're playing in an all year round LARP like Kingdoms of Novitas is. What we're going to need, of course, you're going to need snow seal. You can get this at most hardware or outdoorsy stores. You're going to need a hair dryer or a heat gun, a rag, obviously your boots. Make sure your boots are cleaned beforehand. I like to use a saddle soap to help maintain the leather while you're doing it. And I like to use gloves. This process only needs to be done about once a year. Usually I like to do it right before the snow starts. One thing to be mindful of, these are brand new boots, so some of the dye leaked into the cloth. I would be very careful about not letting the dye get into the snow seal if you are sealing multiple pairs of boots, because you don't want to transfer black dye from one boot onto a nice new pair of white boots. Also, for light colored boots, there may be some discoloration in the process just as you're adding the beeswax, the snow seal to the leather. It will darken it up a little bit, so keep that in mind for your aesthetics of the boots. Also make sure that the boots are thoroughly cleaned, because any of the stuff that's on there, when it heats up, when it's mixed with the wax, it could stain the boots. So just once over with saddle soap, really good clean before you start. So the first thing you need to do is heat up the leather using the hair dryer. You don't need it to get super hot, just warm to the touch. And you're going to work on a small section of the boot at a time while you're doing this. So once you've got a spot that's kind of warm to the touch, you just take a big old glob of the snow seal on your rag and just rub it in. The leather should suck up the snow seal. Then hit it again with the heat gun, let it melt in. One of the ways I do like to cheat is I will turn the hairdryer on and just leave it pointed at a spot and then rotate the boot around it. Just make sure your hairdryer doesn't get too hot in this process, but it saves having to keep picking up the hairdryer and moving it around. You just move the boot as you go. And then you can sort of see how it's glistening a little bit there. That you're just gonna rub that in until it all gets absorbed by the leather. One of the most important things is to really focus along these seams here. That's one of the spots where obviously water can leak in. I like to put just a big old nasty glob of it along the seam and then heat it up so that it kind of seeps into the seam. You can see it melts and starts to flow down into it. And then you just wipe away the excess. So once you think you're done, I like to go through, just hit it again with some heat, make sure everything is absorbed in, like a little missed a spot right there, so I'll go through. Just make sure everything is rubbed in and then hit it with a dry rag to wipe off any excess. So here's a side-by-side. This is the boot I just did. Here's the boot that I haven't touched yet. As you can see, the boot that's been treated is shinier. It's a little darker, not by much. You can't really tell with the black, but it'll keep your boot protected. It'll keep your feet protected. And I'll see you out in Maplewood.